Hi, and welcome to Astro Bites for Monday, the 9th of September, 2024. So what's happening today? Well, the energies are fairly calm. So I don't see, apart from the energies I may have talked about last night in the live stream, and if you haven't seen that yet, go onto my channel and check the week ahead forecast. So let's see what we have got, because Mercury, our planet of communication, who is still in what we call his shadow phase. So this means that because Mercury went retrograde from Virgo that it rules back into Leo, it is now moving forward since it went direct in Leo, and today it moves back into Virgo. So very nearly soon it will be out of what is known as its shadow zone. So when we start today, what we have is Mercury at this very powerful final degree, also known as the anaretic degree of Leo. So how does this energy affect us in general to set the tone for Monday, to set the tone for the week ahead? Well, we're going to have this energy around for a few days, and it's already been building, where Mercury has been squaring retrograde Uranus in Taurus. And remember, Uranus is our planet of the unexpected, of shocks, of freedom of speech, which is an interesting combination with Mercury. So you may have found over the weekend you've had some, well, let's say, animated discussions about certain topics where one has been quite unconventional in one's thinking, and even perhaps quite rebellious in one's thinking, even if normally you are quite conservative and stick to the status quo. So that energy is still going to be around. So there's still the potential in the news today that we will hear surprising news about surprising events, about shocks. Then Mercury moves in to Virgo. Now it rules Virgo. Now Mercury, remember, is the messenger of the gods. So Mercury had the ability to go between all the different kind of heavenly realms and deliver the messages that were needed, that were important to the various gods and goddesses. So now it's as if, apart from the sign of Gemini, which Mercury also rules because it's about communication, it's in Virgo, the sign it also co-rules with Chiron, that is the space object known as the wounded healer. So here we are with Mercury in Virgo, putting an emphasis yet again on us perhaps overthinking, ruminating, going back over what we've said in certain conversations. I said, he said, she said, they said. What I feel the energy is telling me is suggesting, wait, be patient, stop if you are overthinking certain situations, because Uranus is going to bring in surprising and unexpected dynamics that are totally unpredictable. And because Uranus is also still trining Pluto, Pluto, our planet of transformation, retrograde now in Capricorn, where Pluto has gone to tidy up everything to do with governments, organizations, financial institutions, and basically try and encourage the powers that be to think in a much more transformative way about the best way forward for humanity, and to put some form and structure to that. So there could be innovative ideas that we hear about in the public domain, in the areas of life where governments are bringing in new ideas this week of ways to deal with certain issues and problems. Pluto this morning is also making a very helpful sextile to the moon in Scorpio. Now, the moon later today actually moves into Sagittarius, but whilst it's in Scorpio, it's making this sextile to Pluto. And Pluto, of course, rules Scorpio, so it's the ruler of the moon. So Pluto has quite a dominant role in today's astrology because Pluto is also sextiling. Sextiling is helpful. It kind of brings in an element of opportunity and good feelings. And it's also sextiling Neptune retrograde in Pisces at 28 degrees. And remember, Neptune is our planet of the dreams, what we cannot see, what we cannot touch. And Neptune in turn is trining the moon. So what I guess I'm saying in a nutshell, because we also have a growing opposition between the Sun and Saturn in Saturn retrograde in Pisces. We've already had that energy of this tension between the Sun in Virgo and Saturn in Pisces. This energy for the start of the week is what I would say is underpinning the energy of the week with a sense of optimism, hope, opportunity, because Venus that rules Libra is now in Libra, the sign of relationship, balance, harmony, and Venus is moving towards a trine with Jupiter in Gemini. That's going to be really super good when that comes about, but that's not just yet. And there's also, I think, something today, before I go on to our word for the day, about karmic debts being repaid, karmic balance. There is, we're moving towards the energy of this full moon, partial lunar eclipse in Pisces on the 18th of September. So what we're getting is this feeling of, as we move forward through the week and through today, we get a sense that we can start repairing, rebuilding relationships, friendships that have perhaps been out of balance and in a state of disharmony, so that we can inject some fire, passion, excitement into these relationships and a little bit of energy to create some dreams and turn them into realities. So that's what I feel the energy of today is talking about. But now let's have a look at our word for the day. Well, I have quite an interesting word, because remember yesterday, and I can't remember what the word for the day was yesterday. I think it was responsibility, because I'm on a different page on my iPad. But the word I've got for the day, and I'm going to bring up various words all week which come within the bounds of self-awareness, which was the word for the week. And the word for today is projection, because I think it's something that, is understood within the whole kind of package of psychotherapy and all the various forms of psychotherapy and psychology. And it's a word that we don't necessarily really fully understand what it means. And if we're not consciously aware of when we may be projecting onto others our own unexpressed feelings of anger, resentment, anxiety, all sorts of things that we can displace from ourselves and project onto others, then it can be very, very unhelpful for us and keep us locked and blocked in certain ways of behaving, in certain ways of relating in certain relationships, so that we are not able to move forward, so that we keep going round in a loop, kind of making the same errors of judgment in our dealings in relationships. So I just got up a few words or a few elements, the key elements of projection, to help you understand better when you may be caught in projection or on the receiving end of projection. First of all, you need to understand it's a defense mechanism where we project or give the unwanted thoughts, feelings, impulses that we have to the other. And it usually happens because on some level, we're not able to accept or understand certain aspects of ourselves. So we project these qualities, be they positive or negative, onto others. And without realizing that we're doing that. So the other person can feel, am I really angry? I didn't think I was angry. Or I didn't think I was envious of XYZ. Or I didn't think I was feeling lonely at the moment. So it's an unconscious process. And it's really helpful to be aware of when we project or when others are projecting onto us, so that when we have these feelings projected onto us and we think, no, that doesn't resonate, that actually it's because it's a projection. But the problem is, because the person doing the projection or projecting is unaware, you have to kind of let it sit there and let it go and know that it doesn't belong to you. Because if you try and point it out, the person who's doing the unconscious projecting will move further and further into their want or need to project onto you their unconscious anger, rather than perhaps look at what they may be really feeling inside about you or another or external situation. So it is an unconscious process. So we are usually, when it's an unconscious process, unaware that we're projecting, because it is a defense mechanism to avoid facing uncomfortable and unacceptable emotions or behaviors in ourselves. So it can also be recognized as displacing experiences that are going on within us. So instead of recognizing negative feelings, desires, thoughts within ourselves, we believe that others are the source of these qualities. So if we're angry with someone, we can't acknowledge that when we accuse others of being angry, it's actually our anger and hostility and not theirs. It can be a defense against anxiety, because projection helps protect us from feelings of anxiety, guilt or shame, because we can distance ourselves from what we find completely unacceptable in ourselves. Because if we assign these feelings to others, we can continue to feel good about ourselves and maintain this kind of false, good, positive self-image. So it can happen when we are struggling with our own feelings of hostility. It can happen when we're insecure in our relationships. So we project our insecurities onto another by perhaps thinking our partner is untrustworthy, uninterested, when it actually might be us that is untrustworthy or even uninterested. So recognizing projection is really super important, because it can help as an individual. It can help us understand how we do get into this avoidance of certain aspects of our emotional life. So this is where talking to a therapist can be so super helpful, because the therapist can gently guide you towards seeing that you might be attributing qualities of your own onto the therapist, for example. Or you seem to know, how the best way is for me to go forward with this. Well, perhaps it's actually that what the therapist is suggesting is the best way to go forward, and you're just recognizing it because maybe you've already actually said it without being aware that you've said it. So when you can work through your own projections, it means you can gain better self-awareness and insight. And that leads us to healthier relationships and for us to feel more emotionally balanced. So a little bit of a long start to Monday's word for the day or experience of the day, but I think it's all grist to the mill, as they say, grist to the mill. And so this is going to be a week where I'm going to be doing my best to empower you to understand yourselves better and follow on from yesterday's theme in the week ahead of knowing thyself really well. So on that note, please remember to like, comment and subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow for another Astro Bite. Bye for now.